inspired by it, but yeah. Okay, so I've got my sheets here set up in Revit, and now I want to take it back to AutoCAD, beginning with a part plan showing the unit that I want to document. So I'm going to begin by making a new sheet. So in Revit, of course, we'll right-click on Sheets All, go to New Sheet, and then I've got the title block I want. I'm going to show you where to get them if you haven't loaded them already. Click Load. And then you need to go to the folder on the P drive, Interior Design, or EDUDC Interior Design, Revit, Revit Library, and title blocks. So I've got all the standard page sizes there and a few different versions of each one. So if you're doing A2, of course, choose any of those A2 title blocks that you like the look of. But it's up to you how you want the title block part oriented, whether you want it on the side. It should be landscape either way. But again, whether you want it on the right-hand side or you want it on the bottom. So just choose one of the title blocks accordingly. And again, there's a reasonable selection there of landscape title blocks. I think I'm going to go for the one at the bottom. And because you're doing construction, you maybe want to get the one that is big enough for a full title block with an amendments area. This one's not too bad. That's the one with DCE in the name at the end. Design Centre Enmore. Yep, but the one next to it is the one I'm going to use with the title block going the full length all the way. Landscape below. And because I already had it loaded, though, I've got to choose it again from the list here. So I'll click OK, and new page with the title block. And you can start to fill in the details here, so if you click on it, normally you could change details like the firm name and everything, but the way this one's been done, you have to go and edit the family to do that. So I'm not going to worry about that. So this part I'll leave. But then over here, where it's got the name, you can put the name in, the client, I suppose. Well, you could put your own name, actually. Well, it just saves you filling it in later in AutoCAD, but you can definitely change it later as well. The project name, again, you might want to check that. Drawing title, so let's say Apartment 1, floor plan. And there you can see it's the field is too big for that area, so I'm going to just change the name, or let's say Unit 1. Oh, well, you can. You just have to go and edit the family to change that text box. And then maybe the drawing number. I'll just make that a bit better. So A110. I've already got 110. Well, in fact, I'll just do that back in AutoCAD then. So that's it. You don't need to make the title block perfect as long as you've got something as a starting point. Then I'm going to go back to find the level that I want to show. So let's say I want to use this unit on the left, I suppose. What do I want to do the right? No, I'll do the one on the left. And so I'm going to right-click and... I'm going to go to the other view that I've set up for this level. Right-click and duplicate view, and I'll do duplicate with detailing. If you're wondering what the difference is, if I did duplicate, just duplicate, it copies it without things like text. That's all. So duplicate with detailing, and then to start cropping the view, I'm going to click down here on Show Crop Region. So if you haven't used that one very much, that's super useful. So that button there just hides and unhides the crop region. And so then we can, of course, select it and adjust that border to show just the parts that we want. Right, so there we are. So that's going to show a path plan. Yeah, that's right, yeah. It's two levels.
So we just get the two arcs and we combine them together.
On one sheet, yeah, that's right, 2 plans. Yep, can be on one sheet easily. Yep. Yep.
Can I ask you something? When you get the button blocks,
Yeah.
not on
P drive, so student resources.
yeah.
Just your P drive. Yeah, yeah, that's it. And then period design. And then Revit library, you can scroll down. And then title blocks. Right, so, yep, so then notice I've got the section line there being cut off. And because I probably want to use the section later, I'm going to bring that section line in so that it fits. There you go.
Do sections come through and you take them up the line?
Oh yeah, you can export sections as well.
So how does that work if you have to scale it in order?
No, Revit will scale up for you.
Right. Okay.
Yep, yep. So yes, that just makes it a bit more presentable, having that section line the right length for this new size of the floor plan. And then the final thing I'm going to change before I go back to the sheet is the scale here. I'll change to 1 to 50 because that's the scale unit. And then you might see other views pop in, like this section here that wasn't showing before at 1 to 100. That's normal in Revit. So I don't want to see that section on my plan, so I'm just going to hide that by hiding view elements. Then I'm also going to rename the view. So I'm going to right click over here and go to rename, and then we'll call this level 1, unit 1, of course. So that's set up, ready to go. If I go back to my sheet, and then of course I can just drag that and place it on my page. And because a few of you are doing multi... I did that to start with, yeah, that's right, duplicate with italic, yeah. Yeah, and then crop, so turning on the crop agent. I'm going to repeat it now. So I'll go now to level 2, and I'm going to get another unit because, again, some of you have to do that. So, and this might be a good thing for you to see as well. It's not required, but if you've ever wanted to have the same things on a new level as you've got on, you know, a level that you've already done. So here I'm just selecting all the things in this apartment, and there is a quicker way than this, but I'm nearly done, so that's going to be okay. Let's just do that with a window. Right, so I've got all the things from this unit, and then I'm going to use copy to clipboard, and now I'll go to level 2, which is of course empty at the moment, and then go paste, align to current view, and just put some exact copy on this level. So that's why Revit's brilliant for multi-storey buildings. And, well, I'll just put a door in manually. That'll do. Horrible planning, but does the job. So, okay, so I've got my new level, and just like before, I'll duplicate that view, rename it, and we'll call this well, let's say it's probably unit 3. Again, you only have to do one unit, but I just want to show you how to get multiple views on a sheet in case you have to do that. So here, I've gone to turn on the crop agent, and I can't see it because it was bigger than the previous one. So I'm zooming out until I find it. So there it is. And then I can bring in the borders and crop the view just like I did the level below. Yeah, so make sure you've clicked on the button next to the glasses. So this button here turns it on and off. Yep. Yep. No, next to the glasses. Yeah, that's it. Yep. Yeah, so you often have to zoom out to find it. And then there we are. So just like before, I'll hide the things that I don't want. And also set the scale that I want, 1 to 50, and then I'll just keep hiding. And tidying up anything else I need. Actually, that was, yeah, I'll leave that section, but I think it's a different one on the other level. Okay, so I've got my new floor plan set up, and I'll go back to my sheet now. Maybe just move this over to get a bit more room, and I can of course drag that And to make it make sense, what I might do is at some point come back and make it a 2-storey unit. But for now, I'll just leave it like that. It's 2 separate units, which are identical, but on different levels. And so I've got the plans fitting fairly well, but to make it a bit neater, I'm going to select one of them and then activate view. So that means I can adjust the things like the crop region and anything else inside the view while it's on the sheet. And that's a bit like... So activate view. So I'm going to right click and then deactivate view to go back to the sheet. And then when I select any of these viewports, I'll get that activate view button. And then again, so now I can adjust this one. Right, and then just tidy it up. And you can see there the section line is different to the one that's showing over here. So I'm going to hide that section by element. And it's a good chance to see if you know how to bring things back. If there are things hidden that you want to unhide, you know how to... Exactly, yeah, that's it, good. Yeah, light bulb down there, and then there's the section that I want. So I'll select it, and then unhide element. And I might just fix up the... also go to the light bulb again, and then I'll fix up the symbol at the end. And so then I don't want to see this crop region anymore. So I can click on the same button I used to unhide it, to hide it. And if you're wondering what the button next to that does, that enables or disables cropping altogether. Right, so if you just want to turn cropping off, that's what it does. So I'll right click again to deactivate the view, go back to this one, activate the view, and just tidy it up a bit more. So it's handy to be able to work on the sheet, because of course you can see the page and where the views are on the page as you work with them. And then the final thing is maybe just to line these tags up a bit better. So you can just drag those individually, and then, you know, of course, line them up and move them around. But the thing that's a bit counterintuitive is that to change the length of the line, you need to select the viewport. So to move the tag, you select it by itself, but to get the grips on the line in the tag, you select the viewport, and then you can adjust the length.
Do they appear in Revit?
Oh yeah, of course. Oh yeah. Yeah, everything we see here we're going to get back in AutoCAD. Yeah. Yeah. So there we are. So that's looking fairly neat on the page now. And so, yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, so activate the view, and then use the same button you used to unhide it. Yep, to hide it. Yep, that's it. Yep. So no worries. So yep. So that's ready to go. So now to take that back to AutoCAD, on the File menu, I'm going to go to Export, CAD Formats, DWG.
Sorry, well, okay. Hang on. I just need to go up to your
Yes,
screen.
sir, yep. So Export, CAD Formats, DWG, and DWG is of course AutoCAD format.
Hang on. Okay, so what's your set moving? We go to
Yep. And then just click Next. And here's the most important thing. Make sure you turn this option off. And this is the one about the external reference I was talking about. So you don't want external references. Right, so by turning that off, you won't use them. And that's just what you want. And so then I'm going to browse and choose where I'm saving that file. And you can call it whatever you like. So I'm just going to call mine Myrtle Street Floor Plans. That's it, and OK. And that's it. And then the final thing to get it working back in AutoCAD. So you just can open the file, and this is where, I've become a bit of an Autodesk salesman, because, AutoCAD and other CAD programs are brilliant programs, but the reason I always prefer Autodesk programs is because they have all these different programs. So they've got Revit, AutoCAD, 3ds Max, and they talk to each other, right? Because they made AutoCAD originally, so when they're letting Revit make an AutoCAD file, it makes it the AutoCAD way.
So that's an AutoCAD drawing.
Yeah.
I see a DWG file.
Yeah, DWG is AutoCAD.
Okay.
Yep. So here, that's the extension for a drawing. So that's it. So yeah, so DWG always means AutoCAD. And so I'm going to go and open that. You don't need to, in other programs you'd have to import it and mess around, but if it's made from Revit, you can just open it. So here, open the file, and this is where people get put off a little bit, because you'll often have it zoomed in, I don't know why, but it zoomed in on the corner. But zoom out, and you're going to see the page, so exactly as it was in Revit. But then, it's of course got the colours, but when it prints it will be black and white, just like Revit. And so there's the title block. So you can of course edit the fields that I edited before just by clicking on them. They're all still separate. Well, they're actually just converted into text objects, so really easy to edit if you want to change that. And remember how before it was going off the page or going into the outside the border. Now it's actually much easier if I change it back in AutoCAD, because it's not fussy like Revit. I can just change the size and it'll let me. Alright, so you can see how much easier it can be just to change things on the fly with the AutoCAD approach than it is in Revit sometimes. I'm not saying Revit's bad, because Revit's got a lot of really good advantages when it comes to managing large groups of things, but if you just want to quickly change something without worrying about all those rules that you've got to set in Revit, AutoCAD's often a much better option. There we go. And you couldn't do that in Revit without a lot more work. So, so that's the title block. And I've changed the things that I changed in Revit, but what if I want to change the bit over here? Do you know about blocks in AutoCAD? Okay, so anything in AutoCAD can be grouped using these things called blocks. So it's something you're going to come across all the time in AutoCAD. Blocks, essentially they're the AutoCAD equivalent of families. Yep, yep. Next, yep. And then just turn the tick box off at the bottom on the next page. So on the next page, after you click next, there's a tick box. Turn that off. Yep, turn that off. Yep, that's it. You don't want external references. Yep. So, and then just give it a name and make sure you know where you're saving it. So, and then once you've got this title block, just remember anything that's grouped like this, it doesn't matter whether it's grouped as a block or a polyline, you can always use the same command to break it apart called explode. And this is another great thing about AutoCAD that Revit doesn't have. You can explode anything. So explode breaks anything apart. Right, so it breaks anything down to its smallest component, essentially. So explode, great option. Wish they would just put it in Revit, but they never will. Because of the way Revit's designed, it's just, for some people, wouldn't make sense to have explode, but I think they should still put it in, but anyhow, they won't. So anyhow, it's great. You can always go back to AutoCAD and then explode anything. Yeah. Yeah, because it's on the page. So it's on the layout. You've got layout 1, and that's got your title block. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yep. So yeah, so if I go and explode the title block, now I can change this other text. All right. So yeah. All right. Yeah, that's okay. So just press escape to deselect it, and then if you want to change one, just double click on the one you want to edit, then it should take you into text edit. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Okay, so that's to change your title block, and that's important because you've got to have title blocks on your drawings. And then if you go back to the Model tab, you'll have all the things that are 3D in Revit converted to 2D in AutoCAD. And again, you can explode any of those things. So let's say you want to change the bed. Now, later we should have looked at changing the furniture, but for now it's a preliminary plan, so we can leave the furniture there. But later you'll have to take the furniture off.
Is that not part of the construction?
That's right. Yeah, construction drawings don't need furniture unless it's built in. Yeah. But let's say we want to start to think about the risers. Now, it's also good to add in detail. So I'm going to select the floor hatch there, right? Because
Floor hatch is only if you create a floor hatch in Revit.
Yeah.
Obviously, for me, I only have a material and a video.
yeah, that's right. So I'm going to delete it anyway,
Oh.
and I'll redo it in AutoCAD because I didn't bother putting in the tiles for the bathroom and all those things that I'd want anyway.
We have
Yeah.
floor plan.
Yeah.
Very much.
That's right, they'll be presentation drawings, so there's a chance to convert them. So here I can just start drawing lines. You can use the layers that you've got in that have come from Revit.
How do
And that's probably fine to start with, but then later, yeah. Oh yeah, down the bottom, turn on the crop region. So it's the one with the light bulb over the little square symbol. Yeah, that's it, yeah. So, yeah.
the meaning behind it, like the name, like the layers, sorry?
Yeah, well, they use standard layer names, but I suppose, yeah, you've got to know from experience what they mean. I mean, a door is for doors. That's for annotation. So, yeah, anything anno is annotation. So, G anno TLD is title block. G anno text, G anno symbol, G anno no plot.
So what would NPL2 G and
No plot, yeah, not, so it doesn't print. So it's a layer for things that you don't want to print. Yeah, so, but you don't have to use those layers, you can make your own. So I want to make some, things for my bathroom. So I'm going to make a new layer called a bath.
And what about like A and B and
Sorry.
what is like that?
Oh, A just means architecture.
And then G
So you can, technically you can use I for interior design, but it's safer to use A because I's look like ones or L's and they're a bit painful and not many people use I, even though it's in the standard. G is, I think here it's graphics. This is one of those things that comes from the American standards, I think. It might be the UK one, but I'm pretty sure it's the American one. Yeah, but don't worry, you don't have to use those. But yeah, the A's a good thing. And yeah, so I've got my new layer. Don't be too fussy with your layers. You can always change the names later. And then the colours are just for you. I'm not going to do much drawing right now anyway, but just to get you started, I'll then double click next to the layer name to make it current. And then make sure, I'm not even going to worry too much about my line weights, but I am going to set it to a light-ish one. And then now I'm just going to draw a line, say where I want the edge of my bathroom floor. I'm going to take a risk here and do an open bathroom, which I normally would never do, but I'm just going to do it for this and live with it. And so here it's a total mess because I've got, the planning only partly resolved, and so I'll delete that and then have to work out where my shower goes. So I might draw a rectangle to start planning that. It's a bit of a stupid design, so maybe I'll replan it and put the shower somewhere different anyway. In fact, maybe it makes more sense to move the sink over to here, and you can really change the design. It's up to you how much you want to stick with your original design or change it completely. And then, a rectangle to show the shower maybe here might make sense. I'm probably going to have to replan this whole thing though. And you can, of course, stretch and modify all those things that have come from Revit. because they're just converted to 2D. If you get hatch patterns like this that are in the way, you can either edit them with the grips, or sometimes it's easier, just delete them and then rehatch it later once you've made your changes. So I'll just delete all of these. And then I can keep modifying these objects. It's a lot easier now that I can just see the lines. And then, yeah, if you haven't tried this stretch command, it's a great one for editing things. So that's the way you want to maybe start to set things up. Just get your basic planning to work, and then that'll give you an idea about the requirements for your services. So the big one, of course, is the toilet. It needs a big drain, so you've got to have a riser for that, or allow, I mean, here you could definitely look at having it in that wall. So it's just a duct of penetration. So similar to what we've got over there, but that's a very big one. Yeah, so to allow pipes and things to go through the building on different levels. So that's what you're trying to show in the floor plan, where the risers are for the services. And again, you could probably allow for it to go in here, or to be safe, what's the way that you could make sure that you've got enough room for this toilet to work in that area?
What's the size of the riser?
Well, you can look it up, and you should really have a go at looking up the size for those things, but also just have a look at some toilets and see, measure the pipe, or even just eyeball and see how big you think it is. And if you have a look, you'll see they're about, well, it used to be 8 inches or 6 inches, but in metric, so around 120 to 150 mil, that sort of size. Yeah, right, so about this big. So you've got to allow space for a pipe like that, and then also remember there are probably going to be other services like water supply that are going to go through that as well. Yeah, so then just allow that sort of space. So here maybe this toilet needs to come out a bit, and well, you can get some of it into the walls, but that means you've got to change the wall, and that might not always be possible. So if you instead build in a new duct, so I'll offset, 150 from there, and then I know I can frame that out and have room for the duct. Oh yeah, if you're building from scratch, you can do it. Well, yeah, but you've got to allow space within the walls, but yeah, you can get things inside the walls, and yeah. Right, but that's going to make sure, and then I could move it back, and it's a good chance just to play around with the editing tools, and yeah. Again, my planning really needs some some work. So.
How do you indicate?
So we've done today's stem in the wall.
It's very difficult to put them in existing walls. You can, but that means you're cutting bricks and.
Oh, yeah. But we can put the new.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. As long as they're wide enough. Some of these are.
Yeah. How do you put it into to say like that just looks like a wall now?
Yeah.
Then how do you show it?
Oh well, it could be. So that would be framed. So there'd be framing. Don't want to spend we're going to run out of time, but I'll just offset maybe and see what you remember. What's the size of plasterboard? It's actually 13 mil, but if you're not sure, just round it off to 10 mil, and that's a good way to start. So 10 mil. Right, so that's going to be the thickness of the wall lining, and then you'll have some frame. So that'll be, again, this is too much detail for this level, because it's only preliminary.
Okay.
But later, there would be a frame that's something like this. Right, so it's just a rectangle with a cross, and so that's what supports the wall.
And we have to do that in every wall?
Where you've got the ducts, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The ducts. Yeah. Okay, so just a few of those to hold up the wall, like that, and then the the pipes would fit inside there.
So do we have to go to pipe?
Yeah, or just a circle.
That's just one.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's a bit big.
Do we say it's a wall mounted toilet? Do we have to
Yeah, yeah. So if it's wall mounted, then you'd have a cistern in the wall. So they're,
And you just draw a box.
yeah, it's a circle. Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah. They're normally circular. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Is there somewhere where we can find like a key for all what the symbols are that we're drawing in?
Well, yeah, okay. Yeah. So what I'll finish off with is where to get some legends. So if you go onto the insert panel, just up here, insert, more options, and then browse. Right, so it's on the P drive, like everything. Interior design, and then you've got AutoCAD blocks, also AutoCAD library, and then we've got all these different AutoCAD folders.
So we just hear that code with us.
Yeah, yeah. It's not that big. And so then if you go blocks 2D, there's a bathroom folder, and there's all the standard things, basins and... Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. So a lot of these would be from Coroma and Kohler and places like that make them. Liano and everything. And then if you go back up, so then in that same folder, blocks 2D, there's a legends folder. So it's got bathroom legend, electrical legend, fire legends and so on. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll just place this.
Like for example, the basic.
So you just need a plan like this that shows the services. And now, so I'll just go back and insert that block again just so that you can see something. So if you want to try this bathroom one, remember that idea of scale? So it's set up for a certain scale. It's 1 to 100. Yeah. Okay, so make this 0.5, the scale, and that'll make it right for 1 to 50. And then, okay, so then now you can see it. Just have to zoom out enough to get it in the right spot. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. So explode that to be able to then just copy the text. So I'll just explode again, and then I can copy the text, or you can just type it. But if we copy this, again, we're going to run out of time. But basin, BSN, I normally just use B, but that's what they've got on this one. BSN, and that can just go next to it or over the top, and you take the basin bit off, of course, but
You just have to do for toilets, basins, and showers,
yeah, yeah,
and for and the kitchen as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Allowed drainage, yeah. So it's not too much. Kitchens, they're not too bad because the pipes are smaller. You don't need a huge void or anything.
For example, I don't know where to draw it. In my, like, for example, my kitchen.
Yeah, so you might have to change your design a little bit, or at least change the, yeah, that part of it. So
I just do like a 15 centimeters, like
it won't even be no. If it's for floor waste for waste for from a kitchen sink, it's only going to be 4 inch, so whatever that is, about 80, 90 mil pipe.
but it's going to be at the back of the kitchen.
Yeah, yeah. So that's right. Yeah, yeah,
Just going to do a plasterboard, whatever it is.
yeah, yeah,
At
yeah.
the back of the kitchen, and then put everything.
Yeah, yeah. That's an easy way. Yeah, just frame it out. Yeah, it should be. Yeah, it should, yeah. Or add a new fake, build a new fake wall on top.
But what if, like, for me, I pretty much didn't use any of the existing walls, I just created my own walls. So I can do it in the walls, technically?
Oh, if it's new walls, oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, yeah, yeah, new walls should be fine.
So in this case, would you just get rid of the colour, like the thickness? You know what I'm saying?
The
So if you're building, like, say this wall, you've built a curved wall,
yeah,
and created that wall. Like,
Yeah.
there was a bathroom, obviously it has...
oh yeah, later again. This is just preliminary. Later you'll change those wall patterns altogether. So yeah, just if you want to, just get rid of those hatch patterns.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
and
that's
then you
fine.
can mark out
Yeah.
the information within
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, floor waste. Yeah, good point. Yes, 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 absolutely. Yeah, floor waste. Yeah, so that's right. So you can start to put in floor waste. So the symbol for floor waste we're over time, but anyhow. So a symbol for floorways is just a circle with a cross. So I'll just get the centre turned on.
So we should insert the symbol, we shouldn't draw them.
Oh, there's a symbol for this you can find, but it's such an easy one to draw. I'll just draw it because it's just this.
We know how.
So, outside the building? No, don't do that. Not with this building. Yeah. Your services? Oh, you mean if they're yeah. Ah, right. You're not going to have them concealed.
No, they're out in the yard. Yeah, how do I build them?
You'd need to, build something over the top.
Okay, because they're outside of the collar.
Yeah. So you need to have lining that covers them.
Okay, make something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's that called?
Cladding or yeah.
I just don't want to do this.
Yeah. Sure. Yep. Yep. And so then, but this is if you're wondering the symbol for
Yeah. So there's
floorways.
If we looked up like construction symbol data time, what would you
Yeah, I'll give you some books for construction, but later, yeah, and because but I'll get you some good ones. There are pretty good books. And yeah, so that's the floorway symbol, and then you should show the drain.
Come in with all this stuff done. Can you have a look at it and tell me
Yep,
if
yep.
it's acceptable?
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, that's Revit. Yep. That's just Revit. Yep. No. He did use 3ds Max for some other bits of that project, but not that one.